Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Cities Skylines. We are back in Cawfields. Now, there's been a few changes that I would like to talk about, and I'm going to talk about them as we are developing today. Now, I did mention last week that I was going to do some industrial expanding today, but I think it's time for a new residential district. We've been gearing up for this for quite some time, and I have let the simulation run for a number of years so that we can sort out a few things. We're going to just dive straight in. I'm going to do a quick overview of what we have done. So down here we've moved our fishing industry right to the back here. So we've now got a new bridge that kind of links up that industry. We've got a fish farm, we've got anchovy fishing, salmon fishing, shellfish fishing and tuna fishing harbours all here. We've done a little bit of terraforming to just even out the land a little bit and allow us to access all of these new resources. If I just bring up the fishing tab here, you can see now that we have anchovy, salmon, shellfish and tuna right through the middle there. So we can get up to 100% efficiency depending on how the tide goes. Sometimes the anchovy one drops down to around about 75%, but I have been able to get it up to around about 95 to 100% on a good day, so that's good. The one problem that we are seeing at the moment is the water level here is very low, so sometimes we get a bit of flooding happening here, so I may need to revisit that and remap it. Now, the main areas of issues are, you can see here, crime, lack of education, not enough goods. We need more commercial and residential to bulk out these new areas that we have, which is why I'm led to designing a new district over here. You'll also notice that we've remapped a few roads as well to create some new areas of transport. We have unfortunately lost our toll roads coming in here. That does affect our income a little bit, but we're pretty healthy with 1.7 million in the bank, so that's good. Over here you can see this industrial area. I may look to change that a little bit. Like I said last episode, I want to move that all the way over here so we've got some sort of crossover, and then we'll reroute the train tracks up into that area as soon as we get a new kind of objective unlocked. If we go over to our milestones now, we are almost at 70,000, which will unlock a new tile for us. I don't think we have access to, oh, we do have access to a new one. So what we could do is potentially expand this way, because that will kind of help facilitate my new area over here. Now, if we go to our natural resources, you'll see there's a big patch of fertile land there, but I don't plan to make use of it. I do plan, however, to do a smaller farming area over here, and then we'll get a new cargo terminal in there as well. So if we can have multiple cargo terminals, it'll make the flow of traffic a lot easier, and it'll save our new farming industry that we're going to set up moving into a new part of the town and causing traffic. Now, I'm going to wait for daytime to come around, so we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to have a look at our fishing district and see. There we go. We got a flood there. So we do need to be very careful of that. But everything else is looking pretty good. We do have some issues here. We did have a couple of disasters happen in a very quick succession, which is one of the reasons why I ended up doing this little bit of a redevelopment. You can see here we've got a road there that is now out of use. So we're going to link this back up again with that roundabout. And hopefully that'll help with a few traffic issues. Now, incidentally, the traffic isn't looking too bad. If I just go over to the traffic, you can see we've got some snarl ups in various different areas, but in general, this main street here is the big problem when it comes to traffic. And what I might end up doing is elevating this highway and then having a lot more off-roads going into our industrial districts. So if we elevate the highway and have a couple of spots where cars can get off into the main residual roads here, it might help solve some of our traffic issues, because here this is now gridlocked, and I think it's because of the buses, but we are starting to get a little bit more use in those buses. So actually, if I have a look there, it did not look like we had no passengers on one of those buses. So it's daytime. Let's plan out our new district. So this is going to be a heavily residential area, and what I want to do is I want to try and kind of create a nice riverfront zone. And what we are going to do is we're going to have all of these streets here converge on what will eventually be a large roundabout. So we're just going to try and have these matched up as best as we possibly can. And then we'll do a circular area that will hopefully, we just keep bringing these in, bringing this in as well. Where do these intersect? There. So what I want to do is I'm going to pop a roundabout there, but we're going to make it a little bit bigger. In fact, I might bring that a bit further back. So let's just demolish these roads that I've put in. As you can see at the moment, these are just gravel roads, and that's because I plan to grab that roundabout tool again. Yeah, we can put that there. So this makes a slightly larger roundabout, kind of in the middle of this district. And then that's going to allow us to have this kind of carry on all the way along. We do have, that is on an angle, I don't like that, we're going to get rid of that. So we have this nice new kind of residential district that we're going to start putting together. And commercial is in demand. So let's, first things first, we'll put some low density commercial right on the middle of this roundabout here. That might cause some traffic, but we can deal with that for now. And then I'll put another little block there. So we've got a nice little commercial roundabout right in the middle of this new part of town. We're then going to have a couple of low density residential areas all the way around here, coming into these tiny little streets. And again, we're going to grab our paint tool. Actually, we'll paint these on, because I do want them to come into this main district, coming off this main road here, creating new side streets. We're going to have it stop there just before the roundabout there. Actually, no, we can take this all the way up to the roundabout. That's fine. I'm going to leave these little roundabouts blank for now. But we'll carry this on all the way up. And then we've got some nice new riverfront properties that should have a fairly high value and be an attractive option for many of our residents. Then we also need to think about what we're going to do in terms of amenities, facilities, and all that other stuff for our new residents. Now, what I want to do is the area where we have that roundabout, it would be nice to have like a school there, maybe a small primary or elementary school. And that will give our new residents access to the amenities that they need to start expanding. We can then put some nice parks and stuff along the outskirts of this new area as we continue to develop. I'm going to bring in a couple of houses here. These are going to be back out onto that commercial zone, but that's fine. We'll try not to leave a lot of unused space here. I would like to use as much of it as possible. But that's looking pretty good. We've got a main road going all the way along there and a main road going all the way along there. And what we should now be able to do is put schools and stuff right in there. So let's start with a medical clinic. Now, we are going to put a couple of medical clinics in here, and I know I've already put and planned in my residentials, but we'll put a medical clinic there. We'll then put one on this side as well, and we'll stick in a crematorium here across the road from this medical clinic. Next, we want some fire services, so we can put a small firehouse right here next to the crematorium, and then we'll get a little police station right there as well. Let's put in a elementary school. In fact, I'm going to put a public library in. We will put that on here, and then we'll put a small community school in there and another one on the waterfront. That's good. Right, next up we want to put in some parks and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll have a nice big park right next to the library. And then we'll put a dog park over by the crematorium. And put a carousel park in. We'll stick that right there. And a bouncy castle park will go next to the other medical clinic. That's a good place for that, actually. Then we want a tropical garden, which we'll put in. Again, we'll put this on the main street there. And then we can put in a small oriental garden there. Now, one of the things that I want to do is make use of things like the fishing islands and the floating cafe. These are going to be really big pulls for us, so what we'll do is we'll come away from that overview. I'm going to delete the key that's there. Then we'll go back over, we'll find our cafe. We'll try and fit it in somewhere. That's going to be a decent space. I'll get rid of another key though, because it's looking like we've got a couple of issues here. So can we now fit in the floating cafe? Yes, we can. Put that right there. Now, what I can do If I just grab my key, because I do want to keep this looking nice, and we turn on anarchy, we can then link up our key again, and that will raise the floating cafe right to there. So that's really cool. Now that's going to get operating normally. It doesn't have any power, but we're going to sort that out very soon. So let's quickly go over to this overview here, and we will start linking up our power networks and our water. So that can come all the way down here, matching up there. And another thing that I want to do a little bit later on, which we will come to very soon, in fact I may as well do it now, is actually linking this up with our other residential district. So we'll just pull these all the way down, get some nice waterworks in. Now, I have actually left anarchy on because of the way that this works, because the game keeps telling me that stuff is not connected, or we can't have things in certain places where I think we should have them. So I'm putting anarchy back on, leaving it on while I put these pipes in place, and then that should now start seeing, as you can see, we've got people coming in, we've got commercial units coming in, and power should start coming around very quickly. So let's have a look at where we've got power, where we can bring it in. We do have some over here that we can move all the way across, link it up with this area here. I'll turn anarchy off now. That should, once people start actually moving in there, that should hopefully solve the power issues that we're having. Great, okay, so we have those things in place. Let's have a look at what other stuff we can put in. Because I think we can get some nice plazas in next to the commercial centres, and then a plaza with picnic tables. Maybe we'll put it at this part of the roundabout. They were going to leave anyway, so we might as well. Then we can put in a couple of basketball courts, tennis courts. So we're making a very, like a rather affluent area around this part of the city. We'll put a Chirper balloon tour in, why not? Put that right on the roundabout there. Then a birthday plaza would be really nice to put in. I hope it's not too insensitive to put it there. Now, it looks like we may need to bring in a little bit more power just to stop people moving out here. Although it is almost connected in some places, which is a bit of a shame. But never mind. We will hopefully get that solved very quickly once a few more people move in. But without giving them reason to move in, they aren't going to come here. So what we've got to do is actually make a new district. So let's map this one out here. We'll just fill in a nice big swatch going all the way along and encompassing the entire of our key. It's called the Smith District. I don't want to call it that. We're going to call it... Oh! Spring Estate has now reached level 5. That's great. That is what we've been waiting for with our industry. So next episode I'll have redeveloped that a little bit as well. We're going to call this Riverfront Walk, I guess. So at Riverfront Walk we are now going to start building on this new area. You can see we do have a population in decline though, and I think a lot of it is to do with the businesses moving out because they don't have enough goods to sell. So what is the problem? Where are our goods? What are we missing out on? Is it now time to change where we develop and move into this area and start working on our mining industry? That could be the next thing we do. But for now, Riverfront Walk is going to need some power because this isn't working quick enough for my liking. So we'll drag some power across and then we'll do the same here. And that should now bring power to everyone in this area. They, of course, also, somehow they've managed to get here despite not being linked up with the rest of the city, which is odd, to say the least. And what I do want to do is create a network of bridges that will link this up with the rest of the city. So we're going to pop one in here. It is going to involve getting rid of those keys that we have, so we will get rid of the 2 there and then some here. We are going to lose a couple of houses here, but that does not bother me. And once we get this linked up... Oh, it's, yeah, not that way. Let's just make sure that we have things done normally. Bring that all the way across. And there we have Pine Bridge, which is actually the wooden bridge. I quite like that though. Now let's turn Anarchy back on, and we will put in our keys again. There we have it. Nice. And then of course we are going to need to adjust this bridge because I don't like it being that covered stuff. So we're going to upgrade the road here to, I don't know, let's have something nice with trees. Does this actually change anything? Is this going to, I upgrade this? Oh, it's not upgrading it the way I want it to. I want to do it the normal way, thank you. It's still not doing it the way that I want it to. There we have it. Right, now we've got a nice bridge going into our new district. And obviously there's no public transportation here yet, so we will have to consider rerouting some of that so that it all matches up nice and effectively. But I think having these lovely tree-lined roads is going to make this district really stand out. And we now have a new space for our citizens to move into as we continue to expand. Now, obviously, the demand for industry has faltered quite massively, and we'll probably need to look at that again at some point, but for now, I'm pretty happy with how things are. We're going to remove trees from these next series of roads that we're going to put in, and just have them lined by some nice grass all the way around, getting this nice and smart. Once this entire district is finally finished and all set in place, I think it's going to look really nice. So I think that finishes off all of the upgrades that we need to do for our roads. Oh, we've got one street here that we haven't quite finished. There we go. That should be a nice, attractive little space for people. And as you can see, the floating cafe is now getting used. We've got a nice roadway coming through here, and guests and citizens are able to access this new part of town. And that is a pretty nice way to end things here. We do have quite a significant amount of demand for commercial, but not so much for industry. And if I just have a quick look at what I've got here, we've got some office space here that's been zoned that we're going to get rid of, because the demand for that is relatively low. So we'll get rid of all of this, and then we'll replace it with some new commercial. We'll go with low density commercial here. And that again will continue to expand our shopping and tourism commercial districts. We can even put a few here on this main road, but I'm a little bit nervous about it because of the fact that we've got quite a lot of traffic coming through this area, and I don't want to throttle that too much. Got a nice little swimming school there, and a couple of other things. The best nightclub. Very interesting things right next door to each other, but you can see there's a lot of abandoned buildings, a lot of demand for workers, and yeah, a lot of stuff. Actually, here we go. This still needs to be, yeah, as you can see here, we've yet to recover fully from these issues that we had last time. I haven't been able to spot all of the areas that were demolished and it became a bit of an issue, but hopefully that will now sort things out and we'll get our bus routes back up and running. And yes, so what's this over here? The public library, which we need to rebuild. Great. Okay, so that's the commercial demand dropping all the way down, and hopefully we'll start getting some new residents in here. What I'd like to do is convert Riverfront Walk to a European suburbia, and then we're going to enact a couple of policies for this district. City planning policies, in fact. What I'd like to do is... let's go with, what should we do? Let's go with, I'm looking at the wrong thing actually. What I want to do is I want to change the actual residential area into self-sufficient buildings. Because then what I can do is we'll maybe have a look at Crescent Square here, which they were all using self-sufficient buildings, and I'd maybe look to change that. But now though, everything's looking good. All of these buildings will reset once new people move in. And yeah, we can just carry on with some new developments. So what I would like to do next episode is we're going to have a look at Crescent Square. We're going to maybe try and do a little bit of commercialization over here and stuff. But at the moment, the demand for industry is quite small. And that's made things a little bit difficult. We've got a lot of people getting jobs in the office sector, but not a lot in terms of industry, which means we aren't producing a lot of stuff for our commercial areas. We don't have enough workers. Hopefully that's going to change very soon with the rise of new tech and new people. Not enough goods to sell is starting to become an issue as well. And yeah, I'm wondering if there's something we can do policy-based to improve that. But if I go back over to this area, it looks like the flooding has now stopped, now that the kind of waterways have settled, which is really good. We don't have enough buyers for fish, but if we have a look at our harbours, we can see that the anchovy fishing has taken a little bit of a hit. So if we go back over to our industry here, find our anchovy fishing, it looks like they've got quite a bit of space there, so I'm not quite sure why that hasn't. I guess the salmon fishing has kind of taken up a big gap there, and that has impacted the anchovies. But for now, I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. And over at our fish factory, we're doing pretty well there. But we do need to rebuild and put back in our local fishing market. We have some issues here with water because some of our pipes were destroyed in the most recent flood. Not flood, earthquake, I think it was. And that caused some issues, but they've now been solved. Great. So we are back into a healthy population where people are starting to migrate into the city. And I think that will that'll do us for now. So everything's looking good. Ignore that abandoned building to your left. We are pretty happy with how things are at the moment here in Cawfields, and I'm just waiting. I'll probably wait a few years. Let's get some more demand coming in before we look at our new districts. But I think metal and mining is going to be the next thing that we look to build, because we've now bought into that area where we had those raw materials, and we can look at further industrial specialization. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and it's been quite a fun one to plan. A lot of talking, so my apologies for that, and I'm still getting used to a new kind of setup in my new house. So I hope you've enjoyed nonetheless, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.